What is up? Thanks for clicking on this video. We're going to go through sort of a Twins state of the system. Our first topic here, why I've got this prospect list up, is I want to talk about the guys that need to get added to the 40-man roster this offseason to be protected from the Rule 5 draft. That may seem like jumping way ahead because, again, that happens in the offseason, but it relates to the trade deadline. We'll get to that in a sec. We're also going to be discussing the Twins' strength of schedule in the second half, related to the rest of the division as well, their playoff odds. We'll do a run-through of each affiliate's standings right now, because I know a lot of you are invested in that from keeping up to date with the teams every day. But let's get right into this first topic of discussion that I had. As you can see here, I've got my pre-draft prospect list up here. I haven't updated it to include the recent draftees quite yet, but I thought this was a good way to frame this discussion. The guys in green are already on the 40-man roster. The guys in yellow will need to be added in order to be protected from the Rule 5 draft this winter. So basically, the Twins are going to need to make room for these guys in yellow, or else they are probably going to lose them. We'll talk about the guys I think would be drafted. Probably lose them in the Rule 5 draft anyway. So why would I bring this up now when the Rule 5 draft is so far away? You don't want to lose these guys for nothing. You know, that's been a lot of the discussion this week about Carlos Correa. Oh, they should trade him because they don't want to lose him for nothing. I get that. We talked about that yesterday, but I get that concern always. You don't want to be losing good assets from your organization for nothing. So, that's the other thing with talking about potentially trading some of these guys is it's not as if it's a slam dunk. All these guys are going to fit nicely, or there might be other guys you have to get rid of to fit them. So again, the green guys are already in the 40-man. Simeon Woods Richardson, Matt Cantorino, Spencer Steer, Matt Wallner, Louis Varland, and Edouard Julien are guys that all need to be added to the 40-man roster this coming winter in order to be protected from the Rule 5 draft. That is 6 names that I'm very confident would get drafted in the Rule 5 draft. The further down you go, maybe the less likely it is, but I do think those guys would be selected. And there's other guys in my top 30 as well. Misael Urbina, I think the Twins would hate to lose him, but I do think at this point going down, it's less likely that these guys would actually be drafted in the Rule 5 draft. Brent Hedrick, Sawyer Gibson-Long, Alex Isola, and actually a guy who just dropped off my list, Junior Severino. So all those guys, if the Twins want to protect them, again, I think this top 6 primarily are the names to know. Now, there's going to be some guys leaving for free agency in the winter that'll open up some 40-man roster spots, but you're going to be trading for some guys at the deadline that you're going to be adding to the 40-man roster. In the offseason, there is no 60-day injured list, so everybody who's currently on the 60-day injured list on the Twins roster is on the 40-man, but doesn't count against the total of 40. It's kind of confusing, but it's kind of like you sort of can protect them on your 40-man for free while they're on the 60-day IL. Not the same thing as the 10 or the 15-day IL. Those guys still count against the 40. So during the winter, during the off-season, there is not that 60-day injured list. So guys like, current guys on the Twins who are on the 60-day injured list, there's a lot of guys. Jorge Alcala, Randy Dobnak, Kenta Maeda, Chris Paddock, John Romero, Cody Stashak, Royce Lewis, Miguel Sano, and a lot of these guys are going to be coming off the 60-day injured list between now and then, but you're going to have to be removing guys from that 40-man, so it's just going to get crunched more and more and more. So I don't know that the Twins are going to have 6 spots, this winter, not even factoring in who they might trade for if they have team control beyond this season, not even factoring in free agents that they might want to pursue. So when you're thinking about, the Twins potentially trading prospects, this is a part of the calculation that you have to factor into as well, is that, it can, and I don't want to say addition by subtraction, because obviously you'd rather have those guys than that, but it does kind of help you address that problem down the road as well. So obviously trade deadline's kind of at front of mind, but let's take a look at the strength of schedule for the Twins, what is to come in the second half here. And we're going to start this conversation at Fangraphs with their playoff odds, and they actually have the White Sox just barely. They're projecting the White Sox for 84.2 wins and the Twins for 83.4 and the Guardians for 81.4. So, the divisions are very tight at the moment. The Twins only hold a 2-game lead over the Guardians, a 3-game lead over the White Sox. Not too surprising that they would project the rest of the way to be tight as well. Clearly what's going to happen at the trade deadline will have a pretty big impact on how this race comes out. But the Twins, you can see in this strength of schedule column, they have the strongest schedule of any of these teams in the hunt in the AL Central. The White Sox actually have a very soft schedule from here on out, especially compared to the Twins. So they have that to their advantage. But as you can see, there is, both teams do have a very good chance of making the playoffs. They put the White Sox at 54%, the Twins at 47.5%. And with the Yankees and the Astros being so far out in front of their divisions, such powerhouse teams in the American League, it is looking like whoever wins the AL Central is going to have to play in that first round of the new playoff format, while those two teams are going to advance to the next round. Really the only difference between winning the division and winning a wild card is you're going to host that first round. I still think that's a really big deal. I don't want to play that down. It'd be just as good as winning as a wild card. No, you definitely want to win the division. You definitely want to host during that first round. But let's take a look month by month the rest of this Twins schedule. So taking a look at just the rest of July. Getting started at Detroit here tomorrow, and then some travel days mixed in. The kind of nice with the All-Star break. It seems like the schedule is just a little bit looser in the second half in general. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but just taking a look through at Milwaukee, then at San Diego, coming out of August, hosting Detroit, hosting Toronto. This is tough. There is a tough stretch here. With a lot of competitive teams, at LA, again, seeing some travel days in between there too. But I think, heading out to the West Coast can be kind of an adjustment in general. But then having the Dodgers, one of the best teams in baseball. They have also go to Houston in August as well. And then the Giants and the Red Sox. So a lot of these teams too, we talked about it impacting the AL Central. A lot of these teams on the schedule here in August are probably going to be buyers. Toronto, you throw that too. Teams that'll be even better than they are right now. And it doesn't get much easier at the start of September because they have to go at Chicago and then they go to Yankee Stadium for a 4-game series. We all know how that usually ends up for our Twins. But then after that Yankee series, I can just see right now the sky falling. The Twins get swept at Yankee Stadium. They're not in first place anymore. Everybody's just losing their heads. And then all of a sudden, right after that, you kind of come out of that gauntlet, and the whole rest of this schedule is actually pretty soft. Depending on, anybody can beat anybody in Major League Baseball. But this looks like a pretty favorable schedule. Their last 25 or so games, it's almost all against the AL Central. You see there is a 1 series at home against the Angels, who aren't going to be a team that we're probably going to project to be buyers. We'll see. But other than that, it's a lot of Cleveland. There's Detroit. There's Chicago mixed in there, Kansas City. So I think the Twins have a really nice kind of runway that they're landing in at the end of the season after that Yankee series. So it's going to be testing us. We'll see what happens. So that's kind of how I see the second half shaping up for the Twins. We talked about the standings a bit. Well, let's go real quick through the standings in the minor leagues because, again, I know a lot of you are invested in those teams after following them all year to date on basically a daily basis. The Saints are below 500, 11 and a half games out of first place in the International League West. So they're not having a horrible season, but not competitive. It's kind of funny, that organization is used to a lot of success, in indie ball. So kind of weird for them to not be having such a great season. But anyway, in Double-A, the Wind Surge, they are, for the overall year, they're only a game and a half back in their division. But they're in a league, the Texas League, that splits the season. So you see there's that asterisk next to Tulsa. That means they were the first half champions. They're going to the playoffs. So in the second half, if Wichita can win the second half, they will also go to the playoffs. And they're currently leading the division at this point. So they're really playing well, despite a lot of guys being promoted too. So that's really good to see out of them. Moving on down to the Colonels. They're having a tremendous season. You see they have the asterisk for being the first half Midwest League West champions, but still keeping it up, just kicking butt, 55-32, 9-1 in their last 10, heading into the All-Star break, a 7-game win streak, 154 run differential in the positive. So that team's just been crushing this season. And then we're going to stick to the full season league, so we'll stop at Fort Myers. But they are also, for the full season, they have a pretty big advantage over Bradenton for the best record, but they were also the first half champions in their division, so they'll be playoff bound as well. So all in all, other than the Saints, wasn't it every team was over 500? Yep. So the Saints are the only Twins affiliate below 500, and even they're 42-46. So I don't have a tally up of like which major league systems have the best records across their minor league systems, but I gotta imagine the Twins would be among the leaders in that if we tallied that all up. That's all I had for today. Thanks for checking this out. We'll talk again soon.